elite wrestler.
Yeah, he's just dragging him around.
Social media rants, online leakage, and peeing on UFC's premises. Khamzat Chimaev thinks he's the real gangster and that he can take the skinny old Nate Diaz in the ring. Nate Diaz, however, is feeling disrespected by the challenge. Will the two face off anytime soon? While talking about all things UFC in an interview with the Pivot podcast, Dana White seemed to have let some details about upcoming matchups slip. Many fans, however, think he leaked the details on purpose. During the interview, fans noticed the matchmaking board in the background. Many fans got a clear picture by pausing the footage and enhancing the picture. One of the fights planned for UFC 276 was Chimaev and Diaz battling it out in the welterweight division. Dana White said that the list was not official, so fans shouldn't get too excited yet. He said many of those fights were just placeholders, but he did admit that he'd like to see Chimaev and Diaz face off in the ring. Yeah, some of those fights on the board are just placeholders, so when we go in there, we'll have placeholders in place. None of that stuff is a done deal. Some of those are just placeholders. Some of them are done, some aren't, he said. White said that he was sure that the UFC had plans and interest in seeing the two fighters face each other in the octagon in one interview. However, when he was asked about whether Diaz was offered the fight earlier, he responded, "I don't know." The matchup leak was bombshell news, and apparently, even UFC fighters got hold of the news. Upon hearing that he could be facing Diaz, Chimaev seemed excited. He took to Twitter to express his eagerness to face Diaz. In a Twitter post, he said, "Let's fight, skinny." He tagged Nate Diaz in the post. This isn't the first time Chimaev has challenged Diaz. After an impressive win last year at UFC 267, he called out Nate Diaz for a fight in the future. Speaking to the press after his match, Chimaev said, "Hey Diaz, let's go, brother. Let's go. You're gonna get some smoke, bro. Let's see who's the real gangster." Referencing his love for the sport and eagerness to face any opponent the UFC puts in the octagon with him. He said, "Fight, fight, fight. I love this. Make money, and it makes me happy to do this for you guys." Diaz wasn't flattered by the call out. He felt insulted. He said, "Hold on, don't disrespect me like that. Trying to offer me a fight with a rookie." Diaz has had over a decade and a half of experience under his belt. He thought the call out was inappropriate. "You got 4 fights in the UFC. Don't even talk my name." Despite his age and being fairly new in the UFC, Chimaev has celebrated many victories lately. He is undefeated after 5 fights and is looking to add more victories to his name. Chimaev recently beat Gilbert Burns, the one-time welterweight title challenger at UFC 273. His recent victory made him call out Nate Diaz, who's a legend in his own right. It seems like Diaz wants out of the UFC though. He seems to have just 1 fight left on his current contract. There was a lot of speculation about whether Diaz would renew his contract or end it. Diaz has been seeking to fight since late last year. His current contract will end after his next fight. He's expressed his frustrations with the UFC, especially on social media. He said that the long wait was weighing him down. He further added, "Been trying to fight for 7 months." He also expressed that he was ready to face Conor McGregor and said, "I'll fight Conor's dumbass right now." However, the problem with this opponent is that Conor suffered an injury on his leg and is not expected to fight until the fall. Knowing that Diaz is impatient, it seems unlikely that he'll wait that long. He's also been on the hunt for an opponent on Twitter. Some of the names that have come up so far include Vicente Luque, the welterweight contender, Tony Ferguson, the lightweight veteran, and Dustin Poirier, the former interim lightweight champion. However, he's yet to book his fight. Diaz had stated his desire to face Dustin Poirier. He said, "I would like to fight Dustin Poirier, like now. Like I've been trying to. If there's any mix-up, it's him, them, and the game." He spoke to TMZ, saying, "I want the fight now. What's up, Dana White? Let's get this retirement fight cracking so I can get out of this fighting game. I'm done with it." Poirier also mentioned how eager he was to face Nate in the octagon. However, he was disappointed to find out that he was about to retire. He said, "I wanted to fight Nate this summer, but just found out he's hanging them up. We'll see what's exciting in the future." Days after he talked about how impatient he was getting, he released a statement on Twitter asking to be released from the UFC. He mentioned that he wanted to move on with his life since he had felt stuck for months. "I would like to request to be released from the UFC. I apologize for asking online, but you don't give me a fight ASAP. I've got shit to do." Diaz sounded apologetic for issuing his statement on social media, which he mentioned in his post. The Twitter post tagged UFC's official account, Dana White, the president of the UFC, and Hunter Campbell, who's the chief business owner of UFC. No official reports have come from Diaz's reps, and no report has come from Dana White either. It is rumored that there had been talks between the UFC and Diaz to extend his contract. A few weeks before Diaz posted on Twitter White said that he had a good feeling that the UFC would extend his contract. A few weeks before Diaz posted on Twitter, White said that he had a good feeling that the UFC would extend his contract. He said that he had a very good estimation that the Fight League would ink Diaz to a new contract. The situation with the contract seemed to have escalated when Nate Diaz decided that he was going to pee right outside the UFC premises. He even bragged that the UFC would never end their contract with him. He confirmed his thoughts by sharing them on Twitter, saying, "Taking a piss on the UFC Performance Institute, could do this because I get paid more than all of you guys, and they won't cut me." He took a picture of himself doing the deed, which he shared on Twitter. Medeiros said, "I think Nate is just popping off to make trouble. I think the UFC has got to make him an offer he can't refuse, and he's going to fight out his contract. How come he's telling the UFC he'll fight Dustin, and Dustin said he'll fight him, but they're not making it happen?" Others, on the other hand, are unimpressed by Diaz. For instance, Michael Chandler said, "Nobody calls out Nate because they're afraid they're going to get shooed away and look like a fool because he's such a star. Nobody calls out Chandler. He's going to kick you in the mouth and leave you face down, right? That's one of those things. Get those guys together, man. Sounds like a good idea to me." Several months ago, Chimaev challenged Nate Diaz to a fight, but Diaz quickly shot him down, saying he felt insulted that the UFC would even consider pairing him with a rookie. Even though Chimaev is young and has much to learn, he has been a force to be reckoned with. His skills are amazing, and he's been unstoppable since his MMA career took off. Out of 10 fights, Chimaev has won 7 fights within the first round. The rest of the fights all ended early in the second round. None have ever gone past the 1 minute and 15 second mark with him in the second round. Even after Chimaev recently called out Diaz saying, "Let's fight, skinny," Diaz is yet to respond. However, it seems strange that Diaz hasn't accepted the challenge, and yet he's wanted an opponent for the past few months. If Chimaev is willing and available, why hasn't the UFC set up the fight yet or gotten a response from Diaz? Dana White talked about the possibility of other contenders simply trying to avoid Chimaev. While on the Jim Rome podcast, he said, "No one wants to fight this guy. Everybody wants to get out on social media and say this or say that, but when it comes down to it, nobody is trying to fight Khamzat Chimaev." I don't blame them, but at the end of the day, when you're a professional fighter, this is what you do. You should look at a guy with as much hype and bravado as Chimaev has as a huge opportunity. White mentioned that it was not likely that Diaz was scared or hiding. However, he would like to see the two face off against each other in the octagon. If the leaked info about the matchup is real, then it appears that he won't have to wait too long before facing his opponent. However, even though he has the experience, Chimaev would make a worthy opponent. He might even end up becoming a threat. Do you think that a fight between Nate Diaz and Khamzat Chimaev is a fair matchup? Let us know in the comment section below, and thanks for watching.